It's been an absolutely amazing week for Nintendo and its fans, but not everything in the world of video games is all golden coins and one-ups. But we're here to catch you up in this week's End Credits.
Dude, that was what?
Hello, my name is Delapo. I'm your host this week on End Credits, the show where we take a look at some of the highlights in gaming news this week and bring them to you. Let's get started. First up is a bit of a sad story from Kotaku. In an article from Kotaku on Tuesday, it was announced that EA was shutting down Visceral Games. This game studio was responsible for the Dead Space games and was most recently working on a new Star Wars title. What can be gleaned from the story is that the direction of the game that Visceral was working on was not in line with the vision that EA had. In a blog post from EA's Patrick Sutherland, this was said. In its current form, it was shaping up to be a story-based linear adventure game. Throughout the development process, we've been testing the game concept with players, listening to the feedback about what and how they want to play, and closely tracking fundamental shifts in the marketplace. It has become clear that to deliver the experience that the players will want to come back to and enjoy for a long time to come, we needed to pivot the design. A lot of people have taken this to mean that the story-driven single-player adventure game has become less and less of a priority for these larger companies, and as the quote tends to lead people to believe that EA wanted a more games-as-a-service type of experience. If you own a Nintendo Switch, you're part of a community that is growing more and more every day, and as such, you are most likely privy to the ever-improving software and firmware associated with the Nintendo's newest console. Update 4.00 adds a host of new features to the Switch that are very welcome. Here's the rundown. You can now capture video by holding down the capture button. This allows you to record the previous 30 seconds of gameplay. These captures can then be uploaded to Facebook or Twitter. Keep in mind that currently this only works in Breath of the Wild, ARMS, Splatoon, and most recently Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But Nintendo has affirmed that more game compatibility is coming, but games with first-party characters do have priority. Along with that, we're given a lot of new icons, the ability to transfer a user and save data to another system, and the ability to pre-purchase certain games, meaning that upon the game's release, you can play the game right away. Most strangely, the Switch users have noticed that you can now use a host of USB headphones in order to listen to their Switches while docked and undocked. Who says you need E3 for all your surprises? Keeping with Nintendo news, it seems like their momentum isn't slowing down anytime soon. Over in an article on Nintendo Everything, the Big N has given us some information on September's NPD charts. They revealed that in the month of September, the Switch was the top-selling current-gen hardware in the United States. Sales for the Nintendo Switch are now at over 2 million units in the US alone. That's nothing to shake a stick at, people. Analysts and gamers alike are all waiting on pins and needles to see how the console performs this holiday season, as supply constraints have been an issue in previous months. What we are all probably aware of is that October is going to be a huge month for the console, as Super Mario Odyssey launches next week.
And that, my friends, is this week's highlights. Let's move on to Hot Off the Shelf. In this week's Hot Off the Shelf, I'm going to be hosting it. Our usual lady-in-waiting is MIA, so I'm just going to be giving you guys the rundown of this week's releases. Let's get started. October 17th was a huge day for gaming. South Park: The Fractured But Whole came out for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Rogue Super Redux came out the same day, PC, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One. Axiom Verge Multiverse Edition, totally check that game out. It's amazing. PS4, Vita, Wii U, and Switch. WWE 2K18, PS4, PC, Xbox One. Life is Strange Before the Storm Episode 2, PC, PS4, Xbox One. Siberia for Switch on October 20th. Fire Emblem Warriors for both the new 3DS and Nintendo Switch. And Cities Skylines Green Cities for PC.
Hello and welcome to another Dev Spotlight. Today I'll be covering a man named Marcin Awinski. Marcin is the co-founder of CD Projekt Red, the Polish studio that brought us the Witcher franchise and the multiple expansions and standalone games that go with it. In high school, Marcin used to sell cracked copies of popular US games, which led him to meeting Mikhail Kawinski, another young man who sold cracked games at the same marketplace. With a desire to get into legitimate business, they started to import CD-ROM games, which at the time were extremely hard to get in Poland from US retailers. In 1994, they decided to make their own company, and so CD Projekt Red was born. When they started out, rather than developing games, they would localize them into Polish to be more easily sold there. They eventually got a contract to translate Baldur's Gate, and then went on to collaborate with Interplay to release a PC port of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, which sadly ended up being cancelled when Interplay had financial problems and had to cancel Dark Alliance entirely. Marcin and his team decided after that to start trying their hands at game development, and decided that they wanted to produce a game based on the very popular Polish novel series named The Witcher. While their first demo fell flat in its face, Marcin and his team decided to go from a top-down perspective into third-person, over-the-shoulder perspective, and went on to produce the game that we know as The Witcher. While not a worldwide success, the first Witcher game gave them enough to start working on the sequels, The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, along with their expansion packs, which have since taken the world by storm. Next up, he and his team are working on an open-world RPG named Cyberpunk 2077, which does not yet have an official release date.
Welcome back to The Customer is Always Right, a segment where I take a look at games and read the funny things people have said about them. The theme for today is sequels. We'll be browsing recently released sequels and finding the comments that crack us up. Starting off, let's take a look at South Park, The Fractured But Whole. The name always makes me laugh. The sequel to The Stick of Truth, The Fractured But Whole, sees the kids of South Park role-playing as superheroes. It received great reviews for the gameplay and story. Pan writes the following. Cops arresting black people? Check. Able to choose any gender you want? Check. Got to see Mitch Connor? Check. Able to become a Japanese black Muslin? Check. Super best friends quest? Check. Molested by priests? Check. Becoming Mrs. Cartman's daddy? Check. 11 out of 10 would play again and again. Next, we're checking out Middle-earth, Shadow of War. This sequel to the surprising Lord of the Rings hit, Shadow of Mordor, was released just recently and spoken about by Rachel in the previous episode of End Credits. Reception was very positive in regards to the gameplay and the mechanics. However, lots of negativity was directed at the inclusion of loot boxes and microtransactions. Zatama writes of the situation, I must have missed the part when Gandalf and crew waltz into a casino and drop fat stacks on slot machines. Lastly, we'll be closing with The Evil Within 2. Released just last week, The Evil Within 2 takes place years after its predecessor, and, well, I'll just leave it to our commenter, who goes by the name Rags. I'll keep it simple and to the point. The Evil Within 2 is Resident Evil 7 meets The Last of Us. It combines the third-person action/stealth of 1 with the item conservation and horror of Resident Evil. This game encourages exploration and good aim and minimal use of resources. A light RPG/crafting system gives an incentive to take risks. And it's got a hot nurse. Thank you for tuning in for The Customer is Always Right. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Eli, once again, and thank you all for watching. If you found any particular news story interesting, or you want to talk about the Dev Spotlight, or even The Customer is Always Right, make sure to leave comments below. I totally always read those, and I like to reply as well. We'll be doing one of these every week going forward, so make sure to look forward to those. And if you enjoyed the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It lets us know that you enjoy what we're doing, and lets us know that you want more, so we can give you more. All right, and just remember, after every gaming experience are end credits.